The plainest Jane. This is one of my favorite comments here. She says, I loves me some black, and she said, loves me some black news. She says, is it just me, or does anyone else get tired of seeing people that don't look like them delivering info about them day in and day out?
I'm your girl, the plainest Jane, and let's see what's happening in these virtual streets. You ready? All right now. This could be a crazy ride. I'm warning you now. What up and welcome back. I'm Jane, the plainest Jane, and I provide SERP in the form of black news and celebrity updates. Did y'all miss me? Because I totally missed y'all. Come on in, have a seat, hit thumbs up, all right? Be sure to hit thumbs up. And we're gonna go ahead and get started. Let me know where you are watching from and what you are having for dinner, whether you've had it already or you haven't. Go ahead and let me know. I think that I'll be making crab cakes this evening. We will have an after show that is going to be members only. So to all of our channel members, to all of our people who are behind the paywall, we will be having an exclusive wild bus ride covering an array of other topics that I wasn't able to get while I was on my sabbatical. We will be backstage later this evening. So I'm really excited to go through this information with y'all because listen, y'all know things are always sticky in Hollywood and in real life. So you read the title. You read the title. You already know what we are getting into. Kevin Hart is suing Tasha K and his former assistant for $90,000 for alleged exploitation. So we're going to get into the full breakdown. We're going to get into Kevin Hart's history. We're going to get into Kevin Hart's past legal woes, his past affairs. There have been several. His former or past public scandals. I really do want to talk. I know a lot of people, they think what they think about Tasha K, right? And I get it, right? A lot of us understand what the general consensus is when it comes to main people, when it comes to Tasha K. But I want to open your eyes to, and I wanted to jump on this yesterday, but I really wanted to spend some time digging a little deeper. So, you know, I try not to rush with my stories because I need to dig up every piece of evidence and connect all the dots, right? Kevin Hart loves to shift narratives when he gets caught in some dirt. When he gets caught in some mess, when he is caught red-handed, Kevin Hart loves to shift narratives. He has a well-established history of doing so. And so we're going to get into some of that today. Also, I want to share with you how Kevin Hart, we're going to peel back the layers and talk about how at one point he had the police kick in his best friend of 20 years door, weapons drawn and everything on him and his wife. Again, because he was caught red-handed in some mess. We're going to get into all of the court documents, okay, pertaining to, and we're going to read through all of that, the cease and desist and everything. We're going to get into all of those court documents in its entirety. And we're also going to pick through a couple of really important pieces with the prior lawsuit that Kevin Hart filed for alleged extortion. So I'll let you be the judge when we get to the end of this video. If you think that Kevin Hart is a frivolous filer, if he abuses the court process in order to save his own rumpadump, right? I'll let you be the judge of that once we lay out everything. So just do me a favor. Be sure to hit thumbs up on this video. There was some of you that sent me cash apps over the holidays, and I just want to say thank you so much. I do want to say happy holidays. I missed you all so much. And And if you follow me on Twitter, you have a little bit of insight as to what was going on while I was gone. But listen, baby, we're back. Be sure to hit thumbs up on the video. Subscribe if you haven't already. And don't forget to share this video with someone. Share it via text message, email, in your group chat, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, however it is that you share videos. Be sure to share this thing with somebody because it is definitely going to be extremely thorough, as most of my videos are. Facts, a little bit of my commentary, and of course, all of the court documents. I do enjoy breaking down court cases. Okay, so we're gonna get into all of that and so much more. So have a seat on the bus, get comfortable. I see we've got a couple of people who have joined the membership. Shout out to you all. All right, let's shout out to Texas Rose 31. Thank you so much for joining the membership. I appreciate you. And also shout out to Kay Bragg. I appreciate you too. I saw somebody say they like my shirt. Thank you all so much. I got a secret about this shirt, and we'll get into that a little bit later. So, I've been drinking my water. I lost a little bit of weight. So I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. So listen, shout out to everybody in the live chat. Shout out to all my channel members. Shout out to all my moderators. We will be, like I said, we will have an after show. We'll be backstage later on. All right. And I'm going to drop the link to the Discord so that more people can come into the Discord. I get a lot of questions about that all the time. But nonetheless, let's get ready for takeoff. Buckle your damn seat belts. Okay. And let's go. The following video is broadcasting live, and thank you for being my studio audience. Thank you for hitting thumbs up and subscribing to my channel for more Black news, celebrity entertainment, and a splash of controversy. So real quick, like I tell you all always, and clearly I take my own advice because I've been gone for close to 2 months now. I really hope that y'all are feeling all right, and mental health is more important than anything. So if you haven't already tackled your invisible problems, click off this video and handle what you need to handle in your real life. Okay, that's what I've been doing. And shout out to the new subscribers. I just want to say thank y'all. And of course, before I get into breaking down today's topics and viral events, I definitely want to say all things stated in this video is alleged and according to reports. Okay. And of course, subscribe, thumbs up or down. Honestly, either way, I appreciate it. As long as you hit the thumbs up or down, I really don't give a damn. Okay. But of course, don't forget to think critically and independently, regardless of what you hear from me or anybody else. So in today's episode of Another Goddamn Lawsuit, we are going to get started. Let's see. What are we going to get started with? Oh, shout out to Kiva. Shout out to, I see the channel members dropping messages. Glad you're back. I was on my own sabbatical. So I'm like, yes. It is really important that we take time. And seasonal mood changes are a real thing. And I know I typically always am mentally better in the summer and in the warmer months. And sometimes I struggle in the colder months. I really like sun. But that's a whole nother thing. Let's get started with this court documentation. But actually, I want to get started just to give you just a video, just a warm up as to what some of this stuff is about. Most of us, it is no secret, right? It is no secret that Kevin Hart has affairs. He has affairs he's been having them throughout his, most of what we've heard about Kevin Hart is him having affairs. That's just what he does. He had an affair when his current wife was pregnant with his, he had an affair when his current wife was pregnant with the first child. He had an affair when his current wife was pregnant with the last child. He also cheated on his first wife, Tori Hart. So he is just a serial cheater, and especially once he knows that you're not going to leave or go anywhere, he knows he can get away with it. He's drunk off money, power, visibility, and all those other things. It's just not going to change, right? So somebody in my Discord earlier today said he was a trash ass midget, and baby, I lost it. I had to get myself together. But nonetheless, let's go ahead and watch just a preview. I think that I am going to watch the full interview over on TashaKLive.com and give you all a breakdown. I know everybody isn't really willing to commit to spending the funds to watch the full interview. So I think that between today and tomorrow, I'm going to watch the full interview, take extensive notes, and come back and give you all a review. That way, if you're not able to get over to TashaKLive.com, I can give you a play-by-play of exactly all that was alleged over there. But I do want to go ahead and share with you just an appetizer and a taste of what a lot of this is about and how it connects to some of Kevin Hart's previous legal issues. This is not a cut and dry situation. And I'm going to just go ahead and let you know now. I'm not sure that this lawsuit is rock solid as far as incriminating Tasha. He may have luck with the assistant with $90,000. And we'll get into that within the court documents. But as far as Tasha, I'm not really sure that this is really a walk in the park. I think that Kevin Hart is looking for the results that Cardi B got. And it's really not looking like that, in my opinion. But once I lay out all the facts, I want you to tell me what you think about it, okay? So if you haven't already supported the channel, you don't have to send a Cash App. If you do, thank you. If you don't, just make sure you hit thumbs up, all right?
I did hear about this story. So Kevin was drinking and driving.
Correct.
Okay. And there were 2 other people in the car.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm not sure if the second person was in the car. I don't know about that.
Okay. But I do know somebody was hurt.
Yes.
Okay. Kevin switched seats.
Correct.
And then that person, I guess, went to the hospital and stuff like that. But in order to avoid getting a DUI, it was reported that he basically switched seats and paid the guy to take the rap for drinking and driving.
Correct. $4 million.
Damn. I need $4 million right now.
Me too.
Kevin, I'll take the rap.
Okay, y'all, listen, this comment on the screen is out of pocket. You are not right. Kevin ain't been right since Santa laid him off. You know what? Y'all are going to the hot place. Make sure you save me a seat, because that was funny as hell.
It was gone.
Let me just go in the bush and weep. Let me just go in the bush and weep. I just have to go in the bush and weep. Really. I don't understand. I swear to God, I don't understand.
Y'all are crazy.
He should have called me. I would have been there.
I would take the rap. Just give it right over to my creditor.
Right.
So how did you know about the transaction, though?
Jared came into the office. That was the first night Kevin met him. No one knew of Jared at all. That was the first time he's ever been around Kevin. We were like, why would Kevin let him drive his car? This doesn't make any sense. And he was like, hey, Miesha, I want to introduce you to my friend, Jared. And I was like, why do I know this guy? And I'm like, I know this guy from somewhere. And I was like, oh, that's Jared Black from the car accident. And I was like, I want to punch him in the face. I was keeping everything under wraps. I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want to lose my job. But I was getting anxiety because I was like, we're going through scandal after scandal. If he cheats on Eniko and she's pregnant with her second baby, if this gets out, it's becoming obvious.
So
we're
the
not going to be
first scandal
anymore.
was with the first baby.
Correct.
The one in Vegas.
Yes.
So these other scandals in the office.
It's another one in the office.
She pregnant again.
Correct. With her second
And
baby.
he's still,
Correct.
according to you,
Yes.
according to you,
Yes.
according to you,
Yes.
leaving semen stains all over the couch at the
Yes.
Heartbeat Studio.
Correct.
And showering and then going home like.
Now, listen, I know a lot of people feel like Tasha is reckless. I ain't trying to change your mind, but did you hear how 3 times she said, according to you, according to you, according to you, okay? I just want to point that out.
Yes. And how I know for sure, he showered and left.
Is he playing basketball or something?
No, he's sleeping with people in the office and he's showering and he's going home. And at the time, because Kevin had a shower in his office and that was not legal because the wall that they put up, you had to have like a certain type of shower wall.
Yeah.
So that wasn't supposed to be there.
Because I'm like, is it hot in the office? Is he sweating?
Right. So I had to clean his bathroom and his office. So I had to make it look nice and I had to clean. I'm like, this is disgusting. I'm not the maid. I don't want to clean this up. So I had to clean that up. And then the towels I would just throw in the trash can because I'm like, he's not going to reuse this trash. Meaning these towels.
It was semen on the towels?
Oh, it was. I don't know what was on the towels, but I do know that he took a shower and he put them in the bin.
So let's take a second and let's go back to 2017 when Kevin Hart said that he had a target on his back. Okay, let's get into this. I just wanted to take you back and really bring all of this together. Why did he say he had a target on his back? We're gonna connect the dots in just a moment.
I'm at a place in my life where I feel like I have a target on my back. And because of that, I should make smart decisions. And recently, I didn't. You know, I'm not perfect. I'm not going to sit up here and say that I am or claim to be in any way, shape, or form. And I made a bad error in judgment and put myself in an environment where only bad things can happen, and they did. And in doing that, I know that I'm going to hurt the people closest to me, who I've talked to and apologized to, being my wife and my kids. And I just, you know, it's a shitty moment. It's a shitty moment when you know you're wrong, and there's no excuses for your wrong behavior. At the end of the day, man, I just simply got to do better. But I'm not going to also allow a person to have financial gain off of my mistakes. And in this particular situation, that's what was attempted. I said I'd rather fess up to my mistakes.
Okay, so here, Kevin Hart is implying extortion. His best friend of 20 years, his name is JT Jackson. We're going to get into a couple of court documents in just a second. However, listen to a part of this breakdown. JT Jackson and Tasha K have had correspondence, but outside of their correspondence, right, I do have legal documents that really do make Kevin Hart and his former legal counsel with his prior extortion case out to be 100% a complete and absolute lie, a liar. He was having an affair. He got caught in a hotel room. And so instead of him just taking accountability for what he had did in Vegas on his wife's birthday while she was pregnant, he said, oh, my homie that be on the road with me is trying to extort me for $5 million. Let me file a lawsuit, which not only implicates him in a civil way, but a criminal way. Extortion is criminal, not civil, right? So he was willing to let his homie do time, all to deflect in the media because he was in the middle of one of his tours. I can't remember which one. He was in the middle of doing one of his tours. Excuse me. And he was willing to let his homie do time in order to confuse the media, because extortion trumps an affair at the end of the day, especially if the guy is the one who stepped out and not the woman. The court of public opinion will forgive a guy for stepping out before they forgive a woman for stepping out. It just confuses and distorts the media. Just want to throw that out there. Let's continue with this.
JT did reach out to me January 4th, 2020 and said, hello, Tasha. It's right here. He said, hello, Tasha. I just want to say thank you for keeping it 100. And in my opinion, riding for me during your segment regarding Kev, you won't regret it. I promise you. I'm so glad you see right through the bullshit. Just know I've been set up and framed for some shit I had zero parts of. I also know that Kevin Hart wasn't even fucking extorted. He's lying about that. Nobody ever contacted Kevin Hart and demanded anything. We have hardcore evidence to prove this. So I guess that's because Kevin filmed the video. Also, as you saw in the docuseries, they tried to make it seem as if I'm still tied to some plot to extort Kevin. Lies. I'm now being charged with identity theft. So we went from 2 counts of extortion in the beginning that were dropped to identity theft. Unreal. Kevin and his team know what I know and made it a point to not let the world know because they know it would make Kevin look bad. Just know that in this case is way deeper than you think. And also, you are also correct. I will be vindicated very soon. Everything you said during the live segment in regards to the scandal has been spot on. He said the girl set up the camera. Again, we have proof and evidence that she was extremely involved in that aspect of it. I also know that I was never arrested for anything that happened that year. I was arrested because they had the nerve to say I sent Kevin Hart a demand email to his personal email account on April 27, 2018, talking about I had a molestation tape of him, which was totally false and desperate. A lie they jammed me up for. We also have proof for this fact as well. Proof meaning I was arrested for a second email they claim Kevin received 8 months later after the scandal. You notice they never mentioned or said anything to the world or the media in regards to that fact. Anyway, I would love to come on your show one day and drink some wine and talk about it. So, yes. And he said one more thing. Kevin lied about the FBI being involved. They were never involved in this case. Made up case. We have evidence of that as well. Yes, and the woman's name is Montia Sabag.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, the one Kevin got it popping with, he says, in Vegas behind setting him up.
Ooh, see? There must have been 2 cameras in that room. The one that Kevin had in his hand and the other one she had in his hand, her hand. But I didn't know she had
But
her
they
camera
flew
phone.
together. He was on a plane with,
Correct.
with billionaires on his plane and flew to Vegas. And you said that does Kevin have a gambling problem or something?
Kevin definitely has a gambling problem.
Rolex on your wrist, a plain Jane.
That's just the tip of the iceberg, okay? I know a lot of people feel like Tasha is incredible, whatever. I have some information in some court documents coming from this guy who Kevin lied on, who he was friends with for 2 decades. And his lawyers got tripped up in the court when they lied and said that he tried to extort Kevin for $5 million because he was having the affair. This rabbit hole definitely goes deep. The verbiage within this, the documentation within this most recent lawsuit, Kevin Hart versus Tasha K and his former assistant for $90,000 plus punitive damages, et cetera, it leads me to believe this is extremely similar to the last time that he filed a quote unquote or an alleged extortion lawsuit. Essentially what he's saying in this paperwork is not that the stuff that was stated in this interview was false, but that it was none of the public's business, that it should be behind closed doors. So he didn't say that, oh, this was a complete and absolute lie. He said it's nobody's business. That verbiage alone lets me know he's just trying to confuse the public the same way he did when he did the video and said, oh, I got a target on my back. I'm coming out to say this XYZ. Okay. Y'all are going in on this man in the comments. If you're in the live chat right now, turn on the comments. Or if you're watching the replay, look at the live chat replay. These jokes are flying. Elf on the shelf. Eniko need to leave the elf on the shelf, baby. Okay. So now let's go ahead and pull up the court documents, and thank you all for supporting the stream. However it is that you can, a thumbs up is good enough for me, baby. Okay. So let's get into these court documents. Here we are, because I got them. All right. I spent a lot of time last night and today making sure that I made this cohesive and digestible for all of you all to comprehend. What I do is I break down court documents and put it in layman's terms, because a lot of legal mumbo jumbo, it can be very confusing, for the average person or for anybody, to be quite frank. So let's go ahead and get into this paperwork. Okay. Let's get started. Okay. So we've got the names up here. The attorneys, we can see Kevin Hart's name. We can see Tasha K's name is here. And we also see the assistant's name. This was Kevin Hart's former assistant that we saw in the paperwork. That we saw in the clips that I just showed you from the previews from Tasha K. This former assistant that used to work for Kevin Hart for $30,000 a year. Her name is Miesha Shakes. Okay, I almost said Jakes. We got the Shakes in the news. We got the Jakes in the news. It's a lot. He's also suing Kebe Studios. And let's just go ahead and get into it. Thank you so much, Lady Starfish. I really do appreciate that. I do a lot to make sure I can bring y'all some accurate and cohesive information. Okay, so the plaintiff, who is Kevin Hart, alleges that he is a comedian and an actor who is the CEO of Kevin Hart Enterprises and is authorized to act on the company's behalf. The company is a California operation engaged in various aspects of the entertainment industry and related business endeavors. The plaintiffs, both Tasha K and the former assistant, are informed and believe, okay, and based on the allegations, based thereon, allege that at all times mentioned herein, the former assistant, Miesha, was and is an individual residing and doing business in Los Angeles County, California, beginning in or around August 8, 2017, continuing through October 22nd, 2020. And she was employed with Heartbeat Productions, LLC, and in various capacities, most recently as his personal assistant. Okay. So right now what they're doing is they're establishing jurisdiction. So Kevin Hart is based on and lives primarily out of LA. So they're making sure that they say that the assistant is based out of LA as well, so that they can prosecute and hold the plaintiffs accountable as well. The plaintiffs are informed and believe and based therein allege that at all times mention that Tasha K was and is an individual residing in Georgia and Florida, which obviously isn't California, right? Who regularly transacts business in the state of California and the county of LA, including in connection with the matters herein. Again, they've already let it be known. Listen, I know she lives between Georgia and Florida, but she be doing business out here in Los Angeles, California as well. So they want to make sure they lock in the jurisdiction there. Okay. So that's that. So the plaintiffs are informed and believe based to allege that at all times mentioned, wait, did I just read that? Okay, yeah, no. Including connection with the matters of the issue, same verbiage. Both of the plaintiffs, the assistant and Tasha K, are informed and believe that Tasha is the principal of Kebe Studios and that Kebe Studios is responsible for the content that Tasha K publishes. So the plaintiffs are informed and believe based on they allege that Tasha K, through Kebe Studios, operates a website, www.tashaklive.com, and is active on various social media platforms, including but not limited to YouTube, Instagram, wherein Tasha K specializes in posting salacious and unverified news, i.e. gossip, about celebrities. So this is that professional legal jargon to make it say, to make you look like crap, right? Without saying that she's a piece of, this is what they're trying to allege. Tasha K has an established history of posting defamatory and otherwise improper content regarding celebrities. For instance, most recently, she was found liable for damages exceeding $3 million in a defamation lawsuit by Cardi B. And so they've listed the case. Okay. And we all know that. We all know she owes Cardi B about $4 million, right? We all know that. Okay. Can we get the likes up? How many likes do we have? Okay. We got over 400 people here. It looks like we have less than 200 likes. Thank you so much. I did a lot of work. I ain't asking y'all to open y'all wallet. Just asking y'all to support and engage with the video. I'm gone for a minute now. I'm back in the jump off. Like the video. Let's continue. So the plaintiffs are unaware, plaintiffs being Kevin Hart, are unaware of the true names or capacities of now, wait a minute now. The plaintiffs, Kevin Hart and his various companies that he's listed, the plaintiffs are unaware of the true names or capacities of the defendants sued herein under the fictitious names, those 1 through 20. So they're claiming they've got 20 Jane Does and they don't quite have all of the information to accurately identify them. Inclusive and SUES said fictitiously named defendants in accordance with California law. Kevin Hart and his companies are informed and believe and based thereon allege that at all times herein mentioned those 1 through 20 and were individuals, corporations, associations, or otherwise. Plaintiffs will amend this complaint to allege their true names and capacities when they become known to Kevin Hart and his companies. Now, the former assistant, Tasha K and Tasha K Studios, and Jane Does, or the Does, right? Because they just have Does. It could be a John Doe too, right? Those 1 through 20 will later be referred to collectively as defendants. Okay. So we're going to get into why it's so anonymous. Apparently there's some discrepancies with who the secret people were that were the liaisons between Tasha K and Kevin Hart, allegedly. And again, all things stated in this video are alleged and according to reports. Okay. So the plaintiffs, Kevin Hart and his companies, are informed and believe and based thereon allege that at all times mentioned, the defendants were the agents, employees, representatives, okay, insurers or co-conspirators of each other, and that the defendants were acting within the course and scope of such relationships and are responsible for the acts alleged herein, and as proximate cause for Kevin Hart and his company's damages. Okay. Now let's get into the jurisdictions and the venue. So it's proper in the LA Superior Court because the defendants reside in, can be found in, and or transact business in Los Angeles County, and the defendants' wrongful acts were committed in Los Angeles County, and the amount in controversy in this action exceeds $25,000. As you can see in the title, $90,000 will be brought up momentarily. Okay. So this is going to get really interesting. Now, although $90,000 was, was named, it doesn't mean that that is all that may be granted in the event that Kevin Hart is victorious in this case. So let's get into the facts common to all causes of action. So during the course of her employment, okay, the former assistant with Heart and Heartbeat, the former assistant served as a personal assistant to Kevin Hart. In said capacity, she was privy to certain confidential business and personal information regarding Kevin Hart, his family, his friends, his associates, various personnel and employees at Kevin Hart's affiliated companies. And as a result, she appeared to be in a position to disseminate or confirm allegations about those persons and entities, regardless of their truth or falsity. Now, upon the former assistant entering her employment relationship with Kevin Hart's company, she and the company entered into a confidentiality agreement dated August 8th, 2017. A true and correct copy of the confidentiality agreement is attached as Exhibit A. Okay? So when you sign an NDA, oftentimes they'll offer you money to make sure that you follow up on that deal, to quote unquote keep quiet, keep their secrets, and not share it with anybody else. An NDA is basically to make you keep quiet, right? So the confidentiality agreement was to include the following, quote, matters concerning the business operations, business ideas, know-how, techniques, methodologies, business relationships of any of the protected parties, end quote, with the parties defined to include Kevin Hart's company's owner, its officers, its directors, its shareholders, its clients, its family, its friends, its associates, its contractees, including but not limited to affiliated entities of the owner. Okay. So the confidentiality agreement further provided that the former personal assistant, quote, explicitly agrees that the recipient shall not directly or indirectly, verbally or otherwise, publish, disseminate, disclose, or cause to be published, disseminated, or disclosed any confidential information to any person, firm, or entity whatsoever. On or around October 22nd, 2020, the former personal assistant, on the one hand, and Kevin Hart, on behalf of himself, the company, and all other of the companies affiliated, entered into that certain mutual release and non-disclosure agreement on October 22nd, 2020, the NDA. And there's a true and correct copy of the NDA, which is Exhibit B. The NDA called for Kevin Hart to pay the former assistant $30,000 a year for a period of 3 years, along with other consideration. The NDA defines as confidential information the following, okay? Let's get into that. Now would be a really good time to share the video if you have not already, all right? Let me take a sip. This is a lot of reading that we're going to do. And thank you all for hitting thumbs up, okay? The NDA defines as confidential information, private and confidential information which is not generally known to the public or readily attainable by proper means by others and is subject to reasonable efforts to maintain its secrecy pertaining to any of the following protected parties: Kevin, the companies, officers, directors, we read through that, and Kevin Hart's family members, past, present, and future, and their affiliated entities, directors, executives, etc., officers, okay? The NDA further provides that the assistant shall not directly or indirectly disclose, exploit, distribute confidential information, friends, family, journalists, tabloid. Okay, so this is important. Kind of repetitive, but this is where they list, including but not limited to giving this information out to friends, family members, journalists, tabloids, television or radio programs, websites, internet, social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, and any other third parties, nor shall you threaten to do so. Okay? So, the assistant, therefore, had the duty to preserve the confidential information, both as defined by the confidentiality agreement and the NDA. The NDA included an attorney's fee clause providing as follows, quote, in any proceeding arising out of or related to the agreement or its enforcement, the prevailing party shall be entitled to recover all of his, her, or its reasonable attorney's fees, costs, or expenses incurred, end quote. So in or around November 23rd, this is where it starts getting juicy. November of this year, Tasha K concluded and recorded an interview with the former personal assistant where the former personal assistant made various statements regarding Kevin Hart, his family, the business personnel, and or employees of other of the business's affiliated entities. Notwithstanding the truth or falsity of any such statements, the former personal assistant would only have knowledge regarding such subjects as a result of her employment with Kevin Hart and his company. Such information necessarily would have constituted confidential information as defined by the NDA. Such information regarding alleged personal relationships affecting the employment status of personnel at Kevin Hart's companies, the affiliated companies, and subjects such as Kevin Hart's interactions with his family members. Okay, so this verbiage begins to become alarming to me because it says that the stuff that she's sharing is affecting family and employees. And again, it says such information would have constituted as confidential regarding alleged relationships and employment statuses. Now, if this was a complete and absolute lie, this paperwork would explicitly, I can already tell that this is an attorney that is they want to throw daggers in any way possible, and they do it in a passive aggressive way, kind of like when you work for a professional company. Per my last email, you would straight up say that all of this is bogus, it's false. Instead, you're saying that she's sharing confidential information, not that she's sharing lies. So in my opinion, Kevin Hart's motive with filing this lawsuit is to throw a flag over here to deflect from the flag from over there. There is some validity to what this woman is sharing. And you want to deflect and make someone pay, or some people suffer or pay for sharing this information that places you in hot water for the upteenth time. To continue, the interview also included false and now here's what they say it here, but they didn't say it above. The interview also included false and defamatory statements regarding Kevin Hart and certain legal disputes in which he had been involved in. During the interview, Tasha asked the former personal assistant whether she was subject to any non-disclosure agreements which would have prohibited her from disclosing the type of information that was the subject of the interview. Now, the former personal assistant acknowledged that she and Kevin Hart and his companies were, in fact, a party to an NDA, but she claimed that the agreement had unspecified, quote unquote, loopholes that she apparently contended would enable her to escape the consequences of her brazenly violating her promises to plaintiffs and the NDA and the confidentiality agreement's terms. So in or around November of 2023, an unidentified individual called a Kevin Hart representative, stating that the individual was affiliated with Tasha K and that Tasha K had conducted the interview with the former personal assistant, and that the interview included information or allegations that Tasha K's representative claimed would be damaging to Kevin Hart's reputation. All right. So the individual said that Tasha K will publish the interview unless Kevin Hart paid a ransom of $250,000, $250,000. And yes, he used the word ransom. Typically, when we hear the word ransom, we think about some sort of kidnapping attempt or adult napping, whatever the case is. So that's that. All right. Just wanted to point that out. So on or around November 17th of this year, Tasha K posted a quote unquote teaser for the interview. I showed you those teasers earlier in the video for an interview on YouTube, and they literally have it hyperlinked right here in the paperwork that I have provided for you, wherein Tasha K, along with the former personal assistant, touted the supposedly salacious and damaging nature of the interview. The teaser video clearly was intended as a threat to Kevin Hart that the more detailed the interview would be published if the ransom was not paid. The teaser included a statement from Tasha K, and at the 2-minute and 6-second mark of the video specifically warns that, quote, when you don't pay, we have to get money by any means necessary, end quote. So Kevin Hart and his representatives contacted the police and did not pay the ransom that Tasha K was allegedly demanding. Now, on or around November 22nd of 2023, Kevin Hart's attorney, Dante Mills, wrote to Tasha K demanding that she cease and desist all of her legally impermissible actions towards Kevin Hart and that she refrain from publishing the interview. A true and correct copy of the cease and desist letter is attached. It's Exhibit C. In the cease and desist communication, Kevin Hart's attorney specifically advised Tasha K that Kevin had contacted law enforcement about the threat, so he called the cops. Now, the cease and desist letter also advised that Tasha K and Kevin Hart advised Tasha K that Kevin Hart and the former personal employee were parties of an NDA and that the former personal assistant's participation in the interview was a violation of the NDA, and that Tasha K's publication of the interview would constitute as intentional interference with contractual relations, in addition to the various other criminal and torturous conduct that Tasha K had engaged in up until that point. Now, on December 22nd of last year, they claim, December 22nd of 2022, Tasha K advised Kevin Hart's representatives that she would in fact be publishing. I think that that's supposed to say 2023 because this didn't start until November of this year. So there's no way that this could date back to a little over a year ago. It seems like Kevin Hart's attorney was in a rush to crank this out. And he didn't skim this before handing this in the day after Christmas. But let's continue, right? On December 22nd, Tasha K advised Kevin Hart's representatives that she would, in fact, be publishing the interview. That evening at approximately 6 p.m., she published the interview on her website, TashaKLive.com, specifically at the link, and they've hyperlinked it right here, charging viewers a $12 per month subscription fee in order to access and view the interview. Okay? So let's continue. First class of action, civil extortion against all defendants. Okay. So the plaintiffs, Kevin Hart and his companies, hereby incorporate by reference paragraphs 1 through 28 inclusive as if full set by herein. California courts recognize a private right of action for civil extortion under the California Penal Codes 518 and 19, the act of contacting an individual and threatening to make public statements about them in order to induce payment of money is extortion pursuant with the California Penal Codes 518 and 519. The statement by Tasha K's representative that the interview would be published if Kevin Hart didn't pay constitutes as extortion as defined by the previous stated California Penal Codes. As direct and proximate result of the acts described above, Kevin Hart and his companies have been damaged in the amount proven at trial. Defendants, excuse me. Tasha K and the former personal assistant, their threats to extort Kevin Hart were done with oppression, fraud, and malice with the intention of depriving Kevin Hart and his companies of personal liberty, property, or legal rights, and otherwise causing injury. And such actions were despicable conduct that subjected Kevin Hart and his companies to unjust hardship and conscious disregard with Kevin Hart and his company's rights, such that Kevin Hart is entitled to recover punitive and exemplary damages in addition to all actual and statutory damages to which Kevin Hart and his companies are entitled in order to set an example to deter such conduct. Now, here's where it's about to get funky, okay? No cha-cha, but it is about to get funky, okay? I want to show you, before we get into the second cause of action here, I want to show you and go through the narrative, right? Per an article, right? Not just through what Tasha K said and uncovered in her interview, not just through what I remember, not just through the video of when Kevin Hart said he had a target on his back, but through actual publications who documented this stuff when it was happening, and the court document between the last person that Kevin Hart tried to sue for extortion through what I would consider to be frivolous and an abuse of court processes. Let's get into this. Has everyone hit the thumbs up button already? Please make sure you've done so. Don't make me kick you off my bus now, baby. I don't want to have to do that. But let's go. Hey, thanks for letting me keep you connected and in the know with what's happening in the Black world. Don't forget to smash on that like button for support and for more Black news. All right. Let's go through this, and we're going to get into this court document that literally catches Kevin Hart in a complete and absolute lie in his last case. Then we're going to pick back up in this other paperwork, okay? Now, ex-friend of Kevin Hart cleared an extortion case, says comedian concocted a lie to pivot dirty dogging attention, all right? So we go down here and it says in 2017, when Kevin Hart's Hollywood image almost crumbled into ashes after he was caught not only cheating on his pregnant wife at the time, but on her birthday in Las Vegas. To add more fuel to the fire, a video of the act in question even began circulating around the internet. Headlines began to take a strange turn. So Kevin alleged a few days after the scandal broke that he was being extorted by a close friend who leaked the footage after the unidentified friend at the time asked for money via text to keep this secret, allegedly. The extortion case was dropped against Kevin's friend of 15 years back in 2019. Now, fast forward to this year, and this article was written in 2020. Fast forward to 2020, now Kevin Hart's former friend and his lawyer are speaking publicly about Kevin, alleging he flat out made up the story to diffuse the consequences of his behavior. And in an interview with Comedy Hype, the former friend, JT Jackson, and his attorney break down why they think he was framed. Quote, this started out as a man who cheated on his pregnant wife on her birthday weekend in Las Vegas. That's how this story was run for a long time. And Kevin's team was successful in shifting that narrative to Kevin being the victim of something that happened in Las Vegas, when really he was creeping. What Kevin Hart did in Las Vegas was a bad move on his part. That was a mistake on his part. But what happened was Kevin got together a team of very powerful and well-known attorneys together with his agents, managers, whatever have you, and they basically concocted a story to make Kevin look like the victim in the case, end quote. Okay? Now, according to reports, JT allegedly sent Kevin a text that stated if he didn't receive millions, 5 million in particular, in compensation from Kevin, that he would release the sex tape. Now, JT was charged with 2 felonies over this matter. JT shares alleged evidence on his Instagram page that shows Kevin's DA investigator saying she misspoke about the issue in question, claiming that Kevin never received a text extorting or demanding money from him. Now, let's get into that court documentation because, of course, you know, I got it. All right. So let me pull that up for y'all. Y'all know we're gonna get into it. I'm leaving no stone unturned here, and I'm gonna stay on this. All right, so here we go. In yellow, okay, in yellow is the friend of 15 to 20 years that was accused of extortion. And blue is the DA investigator on behalf of Kevin Hart. Now let's read this. The last full paragraph starting on September 16th, you wrote, quote, I believe JT also contacted Kevin from the number, right? They said that's correct. Kevin Hart, the DA for Kevin Hart on Kevin Hart's behalf said that's correct. So JT's attorney said, did Kevin Hart ever receive a text or any contact from the following number, which is presumed to be JT's number? The DA on behalf of Kevin Hart said, no, he did not. So JT's attorney says, well, why did you write that? The DA on behalf of Kevin Hart said it was one, it was a summation. JT's attorney said, but you said you believe that JT also contacted Kevin Hart. At the time you wrote that under penalty of perjury, which is lying to the court, what led you to believe that he was extorting Kevin? The DA on behalf of Kevin says, okay, it was a misstatement, but it wasn't egregious in any way. it was kind of a totality of what was occurring, or what had occurred. It wasn't a lie, but it was a summary or a summation or a totality. So when you're directly asked, did he extort? Where is the proof that this man was attempting to extort Kevin Hart for $5 million? You fumble, you're stuttering, and you have nothing to prove for that, right? So the man wasn't found guilty. Long story short, Kevin Hart, did successfully put out in the public that he was extorted, and that story did kind of outshine, right? The affair story at that time. Let's get into a bit of what JT had to say at that time pertaining to this in his own words, okay? Look at how reckless these lying ass pigs can be. It makes me sick and mad as hell. In the DA investigator's delusional ass mind, she really thought I was gonna cave into some bullshit I had zero parts of. She horribly miscalculated me by thinking I was just some other black guy that couldn't afford a grade A lawyer who would call them out on their bull. Here we have the DA investigator, Nick Nolte, in the face of Robin testifying under oath at my preliminary hearing on November 12, 2019, which on record saying it was a misstatement on her mentioning Kevin Hart received a personal message to his phone. The yellow is my attorney, the blue is the DA on behalf of Kevin Hart. This is just one of thousands of lies that she's fed to the court. And within the statement of probable cause, when they kicked in our door with guns drawn on my wife and I, they know they fucked up, which is why people hadn't heard anything else about this case. So it truly does seem that Kevin Hart has a pattern, that he has a habit of some sort of going to the courts and claiming extortion when he gets caught up in something, when he wants to deflect from sticking his dangling somewhere it shouldn't have been, when he's in a committed marriage to his preference, his McRib, fake Eniko Hart, right? Fake Janae Aiko, all right? After he left Tory Hart, after she held him down while he was a low-level comedian, and then he finally made it, he left the wife that held him down to go get a preference, and the preference thought she was getting the prize. And mind you, when they got together, that relationship overlapped a bit. Okay, so he was cheating on the first wife when he was getting with the second wife. The second wife thought that she was a preference, she was better, she was going to get different treatment. Whole time, he still can't keep his thing in his pants. Make it make sense. Them pants from the children's place still remain unzipped in the front indefinitely. I mean, you can't make this up. You can't make it up. But,
out of pocket for that shit. Way out of pocket. What do you gain from that?
However, let's continue with the rest of the paperwork. I just wanted to bring that in to make things clear. Okay. And let me know how you feeling about it so far. Put a 1 in the chat if you think that Kevin Hart has a chance of winning this case. Put a 2 if you think he doesn't have a chance at winning this case. Let me know. A 1 in the chat if you think he has a chance at winning the case. A 2 in the chat if you think he's not winning this case. A 3 if you just don't know. And a 4 if you think it is frivolous. A 1 if you think he's going to win. A 2 if you think he ain't going to win the case. A 3 if you just don't know. And a 4 if you think he's full of shit and this is a frivolous case and he's wasting the court's time and abusing the court process. Any and all thoughts will be appreciated down below. Now will be a great time to share the video as we get back into reading the rest of these court documents. All right. Back to sharing this. Let's get into the second cause of action. I'm curious to know what you all think in the comments as I get to reading. All right. Oh, I see a lot of fours. I see a lot of fours. Okay. Okay. Not a capital 4. Somebody said 2 and 4. You can put 2 numbers if you're unsure. A capital 4. I know that's right. All right. Second cause of action, breach of contract against the former personal assistant. Okay. So Kevin Hart and his companies hereby incorporate by reference of paragraphs 1 through 34, inclusive, as if fully set forth herein. Kevin Hart and his companies and the former personal assistant are the parties to the NDA, which is supported by valid consideration, including but not limited to Kevin Hart's payment of $90,000 to the former personal assistant. This is very important, you guys, because he's either going to get this money or he's not. And he's either the personal assistant and or Tasha are going to have to pay Kevin Hart for his attorney's fees, or Kevin Hart may have to pay for their attorney's fees. You know, Kevin Hart has an expensive attorney, even though they're clearly not good at proofreading, as we discovered earlier. But Kevin Hart has a net worth of, and I know net worth doesn't mean much, but come on, how much do we see Kevin Hart in lately? He's even taken on serious roles now. I seen the thing that he did with Wesley Snipes. It was a serious role. I was shocked he did well, but nonetheless, his net worth, it was on Netflix. Can't remember the name of it. But it wasn't a jokey movie at all. His net worth is $445 million. So not only is Kevin Hart asking for the $90,000 back that he gave this former personal assistant to keep quiet via this NDA, he's also asking for attorney's fees as well. And an attorney in LA, it's a pretty penny. It's a pretty penny. All right. So that's that. Somebody said only $90,000. Yeah, that is kind of that is chump change compared to his net worth and all he has going on right now. I found the $30,000 a year to be completely ridiculous as well, but I didn't want to say anything when we got to that point. She signed the contract for 3 years of employment for $30,000 a year, and somehow she ended up getting fired, right? But we'll get into that at one point or another. So Kevin Hart and his companies have performed all of these terms, conditions, covenants, and promises required to be performed by them under the NDA, except those terms, conditions, covenants, and promises, if any, which, if the former personal assistant prevented Kevin Hart and his companies from performing these things. So Kevin Hart is basically saying, I held up my end of the deal, you didn't. So the former personal assistant has breached the NDA by disclosing information and or making allegations, not and or, because if it was all a lie, you would just say it was a fallacy. Right? You would say it was a fallacy, a flat out bogus allegation, and not a purported fact, but we'll get to that. So she's breached the NDA by disclosing information and or making allegations that would necessarily entail disclosure of information defined as confidential information under the NDA, including statements regarding personnel employment matters at the company or other affiliated companies, and statements regarding Kevin Hart's interactions within his family or family members. So basically, she's disclosing information, right? They didn't say lies or fallacies or bogus information. She's disclosing information that is defined as confidential. It can't be confidential information if it's a lie. So clearly, a lot of what she's saying as she sat with Tasha K was true. And they're saying that it's confidential information that has affected Kevin Hart and his interactions with his family members. So that's why I'm saying the verbiage within this paperwork leads me to believe that he's nervous, he's upset, he's embarrassed. And once again, he's trying to deflect with this lawsuit to take away from the truth and the validity within what's being spilled right now about him. Now, As a direct and proximate result of the former personal attorney's material breaches of the NDA, Kevin Hart and his companies have suffered damages, including without limitation in the principal sum of $90,000 that Kevin Hart paid as consideration under the NDA. In addition to further damages in an amount according to proof at trial. So they're willing to go through trial, which means they're willing to go through discovery, which means this could very well get messy. Okay. Third cause of action, intentional interference with contractual relations. And this is against Tasha K, it says. Kevin and his companies hereby incorporate by reference under paragraphs 1 through 39, inclusive as if fully set forth. At the time of the interview, Tasha was aware that Kevin Hart and the former personal assistant were parties to the NDA, and that Tasha K specifically was asking about, and the former personal assistant specifically confirming that her and Kevin Hart were in the NDA agreement. After the interview, Tasha was further advised by Kevin and his companies and by the former personal assistant that they were parties to the NDA and that the subject matter of the interview necessarily constituted as confidential information, again, not lies, as defined by the NDA, and that publication of the interview would constitute interference with the NDA. Now, do you all remember when Kevin Hart got in that horrible accident where the car like flipped over and he left them people for dead in the car? That was one of the things that was discussed in that interview as well, right? And so he had to avoid that DUI. So he got out that car, he jetted, he got out of there and left the blame on the other two people, occupants in that vehicle. That was also spilled in this interview, allegedly. Again, all things stated in this video are alleged and according to reports. Now, despite being fully aware of Kevin's contractual relationship with the former personal assistant under the NDA, Tasha published the interview after undertaking the independently wrongful conduct of making the extortionate threats described herein. Now, as a direct and proximate result of Tasha's conduct, Kevin and his companies have suffered damages in an amount according to proof, including without limitation, not less than $90,000. See, this number is coming up again. Hart paid as consideration under the NDA. Okay. In addition to damages in further amounts according to proof at trial. Okay. Did I go back some pages? Let me see. This is kind of repetitive. Depriving the plaintiffs entitled to set an example. Okay, so we've already read that. Okay, so fourth cause of action, invasion of privacy, public disclosure of private facts. Now you see this. Invasion of privacy, again, means that there's some validity here. Invasion of privacy, public disclosure of private facts. They're calling it facts, not fallacies. And this is against both Tasha K and the former personal assistant. Okay. So Kevin and his companies hereby incorporate by reference of paragraphs 1 through 45 inclusive set forth in the interview. Tasha, the former assistant, disclosed purported private facts regarding Kevin Hart, his family members, the employees, or personnel or other affiliated companies. The interview was published on Tasha K's TashaKLive.com and thereby disclosed publicly. Some of the matters that the former personal assistant purported to disclose suggested private facts included but not limited to statements regarding personal relationships affecting the employment status of personnel and the Kevin Hart and his family members. The publication of such facts will be offensive and objectionable to the reasonable person. The purported private facts published during the interview are not of legitimate public concern. So they're basically saying this is none of the public's business. She had no business sharing that, right? More validation that it's not lies, it's the truth. And so Kevin and his company's actions, I'm sorry, not them. Tasha K and the former assistant actions in publishing private facts regarding Kevin and his companies were done with oppression, fraud, malice, and the intention of depriving. Okay, so this is repetitive. We've already read that. Here's the fifth cause of action: defamation. All right, against, and this is going against the former assistant. Okay, so Kevin and his assistants incorporate that 1 through 51. During the interview, the former public assistant made a number of statements regarding Kevin Hart, and those statements were published on the website. She made statements that were false, including that Kevin recorded a video of a sexual encounter and that he had faced criminal charges regarding that supposed incident. Such statements were defamatory and were not privileged. So the extortion was the main part of this lawsuit, but the defamation comes in where he doesn't like being accused of facing criminal charges for recording a sexual encounter. Let Kevin Hart tell it, he didn't record that affair when he got caught up and said he had a target on his back. He said that JT did it, who was his friend of 15 to 20 years. So he's saying that that's defamatory. He doesn't like that bone being dug up. But everybody's pointing to something different. If you recall, within that story, in that situation, the girl who he was having an affair with said that Kevin was recording it. Kevin was saying that JT recorded it. So everybody's pointing the finger at different people. It's like that Spider-Man meme. Everybody's saying somebody different recorded whatever. So oppression, fraud. Okay, so prayer. Therefore, the plaintiffs, okay, Kevin Hart and his companies pray for judgment against Tasha and the former personal assistant as follows. For general damages according to proof in excess of the jurisdictional minimum of the court, for a compensation for the damages according to proof, and for punitive damages allowed by law. For the second cause of action, based on breach of contract, they're asking for compensatory damages according to proof, no less than $90,000, and for the former personal attorney to, private personal assistant to pay for the attorney fees. Okay. The third cause of action was the intentional interference with the contract. Again, compensatory damages, no less than $90,000. Also punitive damages. Also for proof, punitive damages, compensatory damages. A lot of this stuff is repetitive. For prejudgment interest as allowed by law, for costs of the suit incurred, and for such other further relief as the court may deem proper. Okay. There's a bit more to read, but let me take a sip of my juice. Let's get into exactly what this confidentiality statement said. This part is really important. Let's hear exactly what it is that she went against in Exhibit A. And we're really just going to skim it because it's a lot, but let's get the general idea of what's being said. What I do need for y'all to do is, if you haven't already taken a moment to hit the thumbs up button, I definitely need you to do so. There are definitely about a little over 100 of you who have not hit the thumbs up button. Please do so, whether you're watching on your phone, your tablet, your TV. It's completely free. Okay, it is completely free. Give me 90 seconds to catch my breath and take a sip of my juicy juice, and we'll be right back in 60 seconds.
Get into this Black-owned business, Stickies. It's got things for inside your home, outside your home, and even on the go. JasmineMadeIt.com is your new destination for Black Girl Magic mugs, tumblers, and even wine glasses. You can even customize the tumblers and wine glasses. There's a lot going on for a low price over at JasmineMadeIt.com. And if you've been serious about wanting to support more Black-owned businesses, here's your chance. Let JasmineMadeIt.com handle all your problems for family and friends. You ever had a friend over and they just wasn't catching the hint or paying the rent?
Our asses all get to stepping.
Yeah, tell them to get to stepping with this nostalgic Martin-themed doormat and shop over a dozen different doormat designs over on JasmineMadeIt.com. All right, stickies, you know what time it is. It's time to put your money where your mouth is and shop Black today. Make life easier for you and your household by taking your family's hot or cold beverages on the go with one of these unique tumblers. It's insulated to keep your beverage at temperature, and it comes with a few different reusable straws and even the specific brush that you need to wash it so you can keep it sanitized and germ-free. They've got all kinds of designs to match your mood or style. So grab something for your wife, the hubby, or even the kids over on JasmineMadeIt.com. That's JasmineMadeIt.com, and I'll see you over there.
All right, now y'all know I don't stand for companies that I don't believe in. This is actually one of my cups. You can use my code Jane for 10% off, and there is no minimum purchase requirement, okay? So let's go ahead and get back into this paperwork, all right? And I'm going to get y'all cash apps in just a second. But let's get back into this paperwork really quickly. I saw a really interesting comment in the comments. It said that based on it, they say that the NDA might have been signed under duress. Interesting. Okay, so let's see. 2017. This confidentiality, hold on. Just make sure we're doing this right. This confidentiality agreement is made effective 8/8/2017. Effective date, okay, it's got her name. For good and usable consideration and the sufficiency. In the course of the recipient's engagement by one or more of the entities constituting owner proposes to disclose certain of its confidential information as defined below to recipient, the term of the confidential information shall be defined to include, but is not limited to, any and all of the following information and items relating to or concerning the owner, its officers, directors, shareholders, clients, family, friends, associates, contractees, including but not limited to affiliated entities of the owner, Kevin Hart or Leland Pookie, not Leland Pookie, Leland Pookie Wigington, or any other companies with which the owner or Mr. Wigington is affiliated, sometimes collectively referred to as protected parties. Matters concerning the business operations, business ideas, know-how, techniques, methodologies, business relationships of any of the protected parties, data, materials, products, technology, computer programs, specifications, manuals, business plans, softwares, marketing plans, financial information, letters, memoranda, contracts, or other documents or writings pertaining in any way to any of the protected parties or other confidential and or proprietary information belonging to or licensed to the protected parties, including but not limited to trade secrets, inventions, patents, and copyrighted materials, or any other information disclosed or submitted orally, in writing, or by any other medium to the recipient by one or more of the protected parties. You know what? This seems like a really thorough NDA. I can't even hold you. I can't imagine. I would love to know. Miesha Shakes. I would really love to know what made her think that there was what is the loophole that made her think that she could wiggle her way out of this? Because although it was just $90,000 to go under this NDA, where's the loophole? Because this seems like one of the more thorough ones. You've got like 1 or 2 page NDAs or confidentiality agreements, but this one seems to be extremely extremely thorough. Okay. Confidential information disclosed orally may be identified as such, but the failure to provide such disclosure shall not mean that the information is not confidential. Nothing herein shall require the protected parties to disclose any of its confidential information to the recipient. Confidential information may be made confidential by law or by the protected parties' policies, and may be in any form, including but not limited to observations, data, written materials, records, documents, drawings, photographs, computer programs, software, inventions, discoveries, improvements, developments, tools, machines, apparatus, appliances, designs, works of authorship, logos, systems, promotional ideas, customer lists, customer needs, practices, pricing information, processes, tests, concepts, formulas, methods, market information, techniques, trade secrets, products, and or research related to the actual or anticipated research, developments, products, organizations, marketing, advertising, and or business finances of the protected parties. The recipient also understands that access to all confidential information is granted on a need-to-know basis. The recipient's obligation, the recipient explicitly agrees that they shall not directly or indirectly, verbally or otherwise publish, disseminate, disclose, cause to be published, disseminate any confidential information to any person, firm, or entity whatsoever, including but not limited to friends, relatives, co-workers, newspapers, publications, television, news stations, radio stations, computerized websites, publishers, or any other enterprise involved in the print or electronic media, including individuals working directly or indirectly for or on behalf of any said entities. Recipient agrees that the confidential information is to be considered confidential and proprietary to the protected parties, and the recipient should hold the same confidence, shall not use the confidential information other than for the purposes of its business with the protected parties, and shall disclose it only to its officers, directors, or employees with a specific need to know. Recipient will not disclose, publish, or otherwise reveal any of the confidential information received from the protected parties to third parties, except with the specific prior written authorization of one or more of the protected parties. Confidential information furnished in tangible form shall not be duplicated by the recipient, except for purposes of this agreement. Upon the request of owner, the recipient shall return all confidential information received in written or tangible form, including copies or reproductions or other media containing such confidential information, within 10 days of such request. Any documents or other media developed by the recipient containing confidential information must be destroyed by the recipient, and the recipient shall provide a written certificate to the owner regarding destruction within the 10 days thereafter. Well, if it's just based on what they've seen, there's really no way to return what you saw, right? So it didn't seem like, and I'm going to watch the interview myself and report back to you all. It didn't sound like the majority of what she was saying was anything that she had seen on paper. It was what she had seen with her eyes. So you can't certify and hand that back in and say, okay, I don't have it in my hands anymore. Confidential information may not be removed from the premises without written permission or electronically submitted outside of the owner, including through social media. Removal without written authorization or use in social media is grounds for immediate termination without notice. Without limiting the foregoing, recipient shall respect and maintain the confidentiality of all the discussions, deliberations, and any other information generated in connection with the owner, and recipient will not post or share information or photos about the discussions or business related matters or activities or online in any form, including but not limited to email, websites, message boards, blogs, extras, or social networking websites. Recipient will not share any client personal information, content, graphics, or any social media. It seems like this section D here is the part that might get the assistant caught up. Not Tasha K, but the assistant caught up. So I want to see if there's a clause in here that says, well, if you do share it with the media outlet, they can be held liable or accountable too. Because that's basically where we are. I think that Kevin Hart included Tasha K just to, because he saw that Cardi B had luck with Tasha K in winning the case. But this part D says basically through social media. may not be removed outside removal without written authorization, without limiting foregoing. Maintain the confidentiality. Okay, so let's go on to E. Recipient shall not utilize or deal directly or indirectly, interfere with or directly or indirectly circumvent or attempt to circumvent, avoid, bypass, obviate owner or the owner's interest directly or indirectly, in whole or in part, through agents, intermediaries, or otherwise, with respect to the owner's customers, clients, suppliers, distributors, manufacturers, consultants, brokers, employees, for any reason or propose or purpose whatsoever, including without limitation, to change, increase, decrease, or avoid directly or directly payment of established or to be established fees, commissions, or continuance of pre-established relationships, or intervene in non-contracted relationships with manufacturers, suppliers. Okay, that's not really saying much of anything. Term, the obligations of the recipient herein shall commence on the effective date, and the recipient's non-disclosure and other obligations shall continue in full force and effect indefinitely. Oh, there we go. It says indefinitely, which means that even if or when you are fired or you are no longer employed, fired, quit, whatever, amicable split from the company, it means that you still have a duty to keep that information confidential. If you don't know, the only time you are able to legally break an NDA is if you are coming forward about abuse, some sort of misconduct that negatively affected you as an employee, right? But this states indefinitely. Let me read this again to make sure I'm not misinterpreting. The obligations of the recipient, that being the former assistant, shall commence on the effective date, and the recipient's non-disclosure and other obligations shall continue in full force and effect indefinitely, which means forever. So again, I'm trying to understand what made her think that, what is the loophole? I would love to know. I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm just saying I don't see the loophole that she claims existed that meant that she could talk and just void what she signed here. The recipient's obligation not to disclose shall not be affected by bankruptcy, receivership, assignment, attachment to seizure, procedures, whether initiated by or against the recipient, nor the rejection of any agreement between the owner and recipient by a trustee of the recipient in bankruptcy, or by the recipient as a debtor in possession of the equivalent of any of the foregoing under local law. Other information is the recipient shall have no obligation under this agreement with respect to said agreement, which is or becomes publicly available without breach of this contract, of this agreement by the recipient, is rightfully received by the recipient without obligations of confidentiality, or is developed by recipient without breach of this agreement, provided, however, such agreement shall not be disclosed until 30 days after written notice of intent to disclose is given to owner along with the asserted grounds for disclosure. By signing this agreement, the recipient affirms that they will protect all confidential information while engaged by the owner and after the recipient has completed all services and obligations. Again, that's just another way of saying indefinitely, even if you don't work for us anymore, you still need to keep this information confidential. The recipient affirms that all confidential information remains the property of the owner and may not be removed or retained when the recipient has completed services. Here we go. They're getting real specific. The recipient affirms that all confidential information remains the property of Kevin Hart and his companies and may not be removed or retained when the recipient has completed services and obligations except as permitted in writing by Kevin Hart's policies. I just want to know where the loophole is. I just want to know. I just want to know. I see a comment that says, is it a crime to have sex in the workplace? Was the lady an employee? The lady wasn't described as an employee. Is it a crime to have sex in the workplace if it's consensual and it's not an employee, and if the business or the company is yours? I'm inclined to say no, it's not illegal if it's consensual, and especially if it's not an employee. I'm inclined to say no, but I'm interested in hearing what you all think about that as well. Property rights. Oh, my throat is sore. Should have made some hot tea. Property rights. The recipient acknowledges that the protected parties have substantial and valuable property rights and other proprietary interests in the possession, ownership, and use of the confidential information. And in the event the recipient acquires, creates, or obtains any materials of virtue of the recipient's access to the confidentiality information, then the recipient agrees and acknowledges that said material shall also be considered confidential and is owned by Kevin Hart. No license. Nothing contained herein shall be construed as granting or conferring any rights by license or otherwise. It is understood and agreed that neither party solicits any change in the organization, business practice, services, or products of the other party, and that the disclosure of confidential information shall not be construed as evidencing any intent by a party to purchase any products or services of the other party, nor as an encouragement to expend funds in development of research efforts. Confidential information may pertain to prospective or unannounced products. Recipient agrees not to use any confidential information as a basis upon which to develop or have a third party develop a competing or similar product. Woo! I was about to say, that might get Tasha caught up. This is about a similar product, and they're not in the same lane at all. It would be like, this refers to kind of like the former assistant giving Kevin Hart strategy jokes to another comedian or something. Okay. I'm still looking for the part that incriminates Tasha K, because Tasha K didn't sign the NDA. She did. All right. No publicity. Recipient agrees not to disclose its participation in the undertaking, the existence or terms and conditions of the agreement, or the fact that the discussions are being held with the owner. Governing law and equitable relief. The agreement shall be governed and construed in accordance with the laws of the United States and the state of California, and the recipient consents to the exclusive jurisdiction of the state courts and the U.S. federal courts located there for any dispute arising out of the agreement. The recipient agrees that in the event of any breach or threatened breach of the recipient, the owner may obtain an addition to any other legal remedies which may be available, such equitable relief as may be necessary to protect the owner against any such breach or threatened breach. That's interesting. Very vague, but interesting. Okay. Very interesting. So this technicality is between Tasha K. No assignment. The recipient may not assign this agreement to or any interest herein without owners. Written consent. If any term of the agreement is held by a court of competent jurisdiction to be invalid or unenforceable, even the agreement, including all of the remaining terms, will remain in full force and effect, and if such invalid or unenforceable term had never been included. Notices. Any notice required by the agreement or given connection with it shall be in writing and shall be given to the appropriate party by personal delivery or by certified mail, postage prepaid, or recognized overnight delivery services. No implied waiver, either party failure to insist on one or more instances upon strict performance should not be construed as a waiver. Headings used in the agreement are provided for convenience only. Final agreement, this agreement terminates. This agreement terminates and supersedes all prior understandings or agreements on the subject matter hereof, and the agreement may be modified only by a further writing that is duly executed by both parties. Counterparts. This agreement may be executed in counterparts, and when each party has signed and delivered at least one such counterpart to each of the other party, each counterpart shall be deemed original, and the counterparts taken together shall constitute one and the same agreement, which shall be binding and effective to all parties, and this agreement may be executed via signatures, which shall have the same force and effect. Okay. There's a witness. Okay. I truly don't see anything in here that implicates Tasha K. I don't. I see something here. She shall not directly or indirectly exploit. Now, wait, this is different. You got so this was a confidentiality agreement that we just read, but this is the NDA down here, of which my voice won't allow me to read this evening. So I may come back and read it tomorrow, but my throat is getting a little sore right now. But I did just see something. But does it implicate other people? Create, transfer. The assistant shall not directly or indirectly create, transfer, duplicate. She didn't give any photos. I do see that she shouldn't directly or indirectly exploit the names or likenesses of the protected parties, in which I guess you could say she did. But again, that doesn't implicate Tasha. That doesn't implicate Tasha. Disclosures, responding to subpoenas, remedy of breach, liquidation of damages. I'll probably read over this evening. Mandatory confidentiality, binding disputes, miscellaneous governing laws. What's that? This is a cease and desist. Okay, I should be able to get through this. Oh, God. All right, it's not that long. I'm really only doing this for y'all. Y'all, please do me a favor and hit thumbs up on this video. My throat is killing me from all of this reading. It really is. Please hit thumbs up on this video. I'll come back and I'll read the NDA terms tomorrow. But I'll read the cease and desist tonight, right now. Please just do me a favor, hit thumbs up. You ain't got to send $5 to the Cash App. Just hit thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out. Because I do believe I'm going to go ahead and watch the interview over on TashaKLive.com and give y'all a full breakdown of everything that was said. Although, honestly, we know that Kevin Hart is a serial cheater. I'm curious to know, outside of like cheating allegations, like what else was said. And if you're curious, make sure you subscribe and let me know that you want to know what's in the video you want to review. You just may not be able to or want to pay the money for the monthly subscription. If y'all don't want it, that's fine. My channel members are definitely going to get it. It's just a matter of the rest of y'all getting it. Woo. I'm not tired. My throat is just tired. I'm not used to doing all this talking. I ain't been live in a month and a half or two. All right, let's go with this cease and desist. All righty. It says it was sent via email. Okay. Says it was sent via email. And let's go ahead and get into it. Okay. Ms. Kebe, this office represents Kevin Hart, and I am writing regarding your recent and ongoing violations of civil and criminal law, and to demand that you immediately cease and desist all activity. You have already engaged in criminal conduct and tortious acts that would entitle Kevin Hart to monetary damages against you should he elect to commence civil litigation regarding the matter. To the extent that you do not cease and desist now, your liability for such monetary damages will increase, as will your exposure to criminal penalties. As you are no doubt aware, recently someone on Mr. Hart's team was contacted by an unknown individual who indicated that he was affiliated with you and or your blogs. This individual working at your direction stated that you would publish a story on social media that you contend would be damaging to his reputation unless he pays you $250,000, $250,000. Now, this, of course, constitutes as extortion under Penal Code Section 518 and gives rise to both criminal and civil liability against you and anyone involved in your efforts to extort Kevin Hart. California's extortion law prohibits any attempt to obtain consideration from another through the wrongful use of force or fear. This is according to Penal Code 518. Now, your effort to extract payment from Kevin Hart by threatening exposure of information supposedly harmful to him is a textbook example. We have thus contacted the police and will be following up with law enforcement as we deem appropriate. We understand the story to be an interview with Kevin Hart's former assistant, Miesha Shakes, that supposedly includes scandalous assertions against him. And we know that Ms. Shakes has a documented history with law enforcement and matters involving other high-profile individuals. Oh, my. In advance of your threatened publication of the story, you posted a teaser with Ms. Shakes on YouTube. Here's the link. And this was clearly intended as a threat, sending a message to Kevin Hart's team that the more detailed story would be published if, and only if, the ransom is paid. Your statement at approximately 2 minutes and 6 seconds mark of the teaser video that when you don't pay, we have to get money by any means necessary is particularly damning and leaves no ambiguity to the criminal extortion that was your intent. In addition to liability arising from such criminal conduct, the threatened activity would constitute a violation of a non-disclosure agreement between Kevin Hart and Ms. Shakes, his former personal assistant, and that certain mutual release and non-disclosure agreement dated October 22nd, 2020 between those two individuals. While we do not presently know the specifics of the story or of Ms. Shakes' assertion, the subject matter of the story to which the YouTube teaser alludes would necessarily derive from information that Ms. Shakes, his former assistant, gained while in Kevin Hart's employment and thus fall squarely within the NDA's definition of confidential information. Any such disclosures from Ms. Shakes in connection with the story therefore constitute a clear violation of the NDA's terms. To the extent that you were to facilitate such a breach of the NDA by publishing the story, you would be subject to civil liability for intentional interference with the contractual relations, as well as aiding and abetting his former assistant, Ms. Shakes, tortious conduct against Kevin Hart, in addition to direct liability resulting from your own tortious misconducts. We are aware of the fact that you have an established history of posting defamatory and otherwise improper content regarding celebrities and other high-profile individuals. For instance, most recently, you were found liable for civil damages exceeding $3 million in a defamation lawsuit by the musician Cardi B. You and your accomplices' actions with respect to Kevin Hart are more of the same, in addition to being flatly criminal as set forth above. Your history of such misconduct is further evidence of your intent, in this case, leaving no doubt as to your liability here. We also are aware that you recently filed for bankruptcy protection. You should be advised that under Bankruptcy Code Section 523, debt incurred as a result of the debtor's will or malicious injury to a creditor, Kevin Hart is not subject to discharge. You will thus not be able to evade any liability for monetary damages to Kevin Hart that you incur as a result of the misconduct described herein, which would not constitute dischargeable pre-petition debt in any event. In the light of foregoing issues, we demand that you immediately cease and desist all activity and public statements relating to the story and refrain from any publication or threatened release of the story. Please have your attorneys contact me to discuss this matter in further detail at the following phone number. We note that the foregoing is not an exhaustive, all right, is not an exhaustive recitation of applicable facts and law relevant to this matter. And none of the above constitutes as a waiver of any of Kevin Hart's rights or remedies with respect thereto. They not playing, child. They not playing, child. They are not playing with her. Recitation, that's the word. This was very strongly worded. I will give them that. So what are your thoughts? Who do you think is going to win? Who do you think is going to lose? Who do you think might end up paying? And do you think somebody might end up going to jail? I'm curious to know what you all are thinking. I know a lot of people say Tasha K ain't learned her lesson yet. She had somebody come on there and tell their story. She wasn't alleging it. I mean, if you remember, she had the guy on there who was claiming to be Will Smith's former assistant, right? And I remember when TMZ caught up with Jada Pinkett outside, and they said, what are you going to do about these recent allegations? She said, we going to sue. But none of that seems to have come to fruition. None of that has happened. So a lot of people are trying to understand, like, what's Tasha K's play? Why does she do things like this? Is she trying to extort him to get money? Was it really extortion? Whatever the case is. I heard somebody say, why would she try to extort one of the richest people in the world? And while I don't think that Kevin Hart is one of the richest people in the world, I get what they're saying. I would definitely say Will Smith and Jada Pinkett, especially combined, certainly are more wealthy than a Kevin Hart. But hey, if Jada Pinkett in a fury said that she was going to sue and that never came to fruition, you know, maybe she feels like she's CYA and pretty good. CYA is cover your ass. Maybe she feels like she's CYA and pretty well. Maybe she's just going to continue to be, a household name at the end of the day. I'm curious to know what y'all think down below, Stickies. Who do y'all think is going to win? If anybody, will all of this be dismissed? Similar to Kevin Hart's prior extortion case. Nothing came of that. Nobody was charged. The day of the court proceeding, which I believe was June 22nd of this year, they didn't show up to court. Might have been a quiet settlement. The woman didn't show up to court. It'll be really interesting to see how this plays out and how this will affect, maybe other bloggers and how bold they are to say things or bring people on for alleged, exclusive interviews. But based on the verbiage within this lawsuit, Kevin doesn't like what's being said because a great amount of it is true. And I can tell by the verbiage. Even with, like, when I covered the R. Kelly trial, a lot of what was said in the R. Kelly trial coming from R. Kelly's attorneys and within the paperwork was that all of that is lies. None of this is true. This is not fact. They couldn't even mince their words. They refused to mince their words. It was these are lies. Now, whether they're lies or not, but an attorney is not going to mince words and say, purported facts, and this is none of the public's business. It's not confidential information if it's a lie. And a lot of what Kevin Hart and his attorneys placed in this paperwork said that this is confidential information. It's none of the public's business. So I think that Kevin is nervous. I think that his wife is extremely upset with him because he didn't cheated for the 11th time. And those are my thoughts. I'm curious to know what you all think down below. Who's going to sue TMZ for invasion of privacy? I mean, that's a good question. I'm pretty positive TMZ has been sued several times. Another question would be, who sued Wendy Williams for invasion of privacy? Wendy Williams spilled a lot of stuff that was speculation, that people called her up, that she believed that she couldn't necessarily verify. Wendy Williams almost got her ass whooped several times by several people, got read down. I can't remember if it was SWV or Total, but they came up to the studio, was about to beat her ass. Whitney Houston called up there and read her rights. Even Beyonce, when she was a part of Destiny's Child, when they had 4 members called up there and read Wendy down because she didn't appreciate what Wendy was saying in the radio station. So, it's levels to how alleged celebrity information, rumors, hearsay is being distributed to the public nowadays, and what celebrities are and are not willing to do when they hear shit that they don't like, that the blogs and the magazines and the tabloids and journalists and bloggers and whoever are saying to them. It's different. It's completely different. I mean, you've got whole blogs and whole YouTube channels right now being ran on YouTube that are saying people that I run across this blog every now and then, and it burns me up. It's Taraji P. Henson dead at this age. And they just be making it. It's so fake, but it's ran by AI. Who's suing them? But it's AI. It's not a person. And due to the fact that YouTube is built on this premise of Judge Mathis. Yes, Judge Mathis read Wendy Williams too. Due to the fact that YouTube, regardless of whether people like your videos or not, as long as they're watching, you're going to get paid. So people set up these channels ran by AI saying a different 2 people are dying every day. These people are very much alive and well. It's crazy, but they're still making oodles of money because people get shocked. Like, what? Let me click on it. And then you hear the computer reading the thing and you see all the messed up comments, or they turn the comments off. But when celebrities don't like what they hear was coming from what they either deem to be salacious, because sometimes stuff is true, but people will call it salacious and call it a reach and call it a lie. How do you disseminate that? And how do you go in front of a judge and really prove this? Do you feel like going to court and wasting your money and spending a whole bunch of time caught up in legal fees trying to sue a person or a channel? I think Cardi got lucky winning against Tasha, to be honest. A lot of people are salacious on YouTube, and I'm not making excuses. Trust me, I'm not. I try to be as ethical as possible. I try. There are some people, some things, some subjects that I just don't like. I don't rock with. But I'm not jumping out the window trying to come up with an unpopular opinion just because everybody's on one side of thing, if that makes sense. So I don't know. Before things get kind of lost in, those are just my thoughts, right? But before things get completely lost in translation, I'm curious to know what you think about it. Are bloggers safe? Do bloggers need to watch out? Do they need to say allegedly every other sentence, right? Do they just need to be more responsible or have more morals? What are your thoughts? Put a 1 in the chat if you think Kevin is going to win this lawsuit, a 1 if you think he's going to win, put a 2 if you think he's going to lose this lawsuit, a 2 if you think he's going to lose, a 3 if you just don't know. You don't know what's going to happen with this lawsuit. And a 4 if you think that Kevin is being frivolous, once again, abusing the court process and filing paperwork to deflect from his umpteenth affairs and his inability to be faithful to his wife. I'm curious if there's anybody who has a chance. Oh, it was total. Okay. If there's anybody that has a chance at winning, or at really being incriminated or within this lawsuit, I think it really might be that former attorney, not Tasha. So I hope she got $90,000. Okay. And she was only making $30,000 a year working for Kevin. I'm wondering, was that before or after taxes or what? What the hell? Was he giving you room and board? What was he giving you? Like, that's crazy to be working for a celebrity like that and to be cleaning up cum-filled towels and whatnot. I mean, it's a mess. It's a mess. We will be live backstage. Oh, I need to read the super chats. We will be live backstage later tonight. I'm going to go downstairs and mix up the crab meat. We got fresh crab meat tonight. Found me a bomb recipe and it is good. Shout out to Shay, the gem dropper. Shout out to Kiva. Come get this commentary listening from the bushes. I missed you too, Nika Joyner. I missed all of y'all, to be completely honest. I got a lot of messages. And shout out, I got a $5 Cash App from Tanya. And then I got oh, thank you so much, Sheila. Thank you. That was so generous of you. Thank you so much. I thank you for that Cash App. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate that. And B became a member. DZ91 became a member. I do appreciate the prayers, for real, for real. Shout out to AMK. He should have said she asked. He should have said she asked for 4 million. Then we might have believed him. Right here, he said, you know what? She asked me for $4 million. I think people might have ate that up a bit more. But $250,000 compared to all she owed, child. We all know Tasha gonna say she ain't got it. That's her motto. Come on now. Come on. Thank you for the $5 super chat, K Bread. Chocolate Hobbit better be running. That check to JT right now, because if Tasha K interview him, it's game over. Yeah, and it's clear he wants to sit down with Tasha. So that's gonna be really interesting. Plus, I fully expect her to interview the new side chick. I'm here for all of it. I wonder if he was put under a confidentiality agreement and or an NDA. He might be able to really spill it all. If not, that's going to be really interesting. For real, for real. That's a good point, K Bragg. Thank you, thank you, thank you for that one. Okay, shout out to AMK gifted a membership. Nicole Comer was gifted a membership. Welcome to the Backstage Stickies. And then Tia to you, shout out to you. I feel like I recognize your name. You either rejoined or you're just joining, but I recognize your name. You're a frequent watcher. Thank you so much for joining the membership. I appreciate all of my Backstage Stickies. Y'all know we let our hair down backstage and we cut up. We cut up backstage. So, y'all know when I'm doing court documents, I don't cut up, but whatever the next topic it is that we discuss, we'll probably be cutting up, giving commentary. It seems like somebody else was gifted a membership too. Dominique Jones, shout out to you and welcome to the Pancake Posse, the Sticky Squad. Hey, Plush Entity, nice to see you all as well. I really did miss y'all a lot. Y'all have no clue. Y'all have no clue. So let me get off here and take care of myself. Y'all know I stay stressing mental health to y'all all the time. And it's clearly something that I believe in. And I do take my own advice, which is why I go missing sometimes. Even when y'all are looking for me and when I'm looking to go live, I have to take care of myself, my mind, my invisible problems, and my tangible problems in my real life offline. I do really enjoy this YouTube channel. It is my passion creating this content for y'all, but I refuse to let myself get caught up and forget about my real life responsibilities. Some people think that online is like everything, like it supersedes their real life, and that just can never be me. It can never be me. So I have to have a balance. And what I'm hoping for next year, going into the next year, I'm really hoping for more of a balance that you all can see so that I can be more consistent. I have some chemical imbalances, right? I have depression and anxiety. I've been diagnosed with depression and anxiety, right? So I'm working on getting my chemical imbalances more, taking care of those in the different ways in which I need to. So that I can be more consistent, because it does make me happy when I create content for y'all, but I can't let it supersede my life, my mental state. And I can't let that be a priority over, what's real. Not that y'all aren't real and this isn't real, but y'all get the point. Listen, I passed the question off to you. What are your thoughts about this lawsuit? What are your thoughts? Is Kevin Hart wasting his time or not? Any and all thoughts are welcome down below. Be sure to tag me in all of your favorite trending topics on Instagram and on Twitter. Hop in my DMs on Instagram with any topics or stories that you're interested in me covering. Okay, y'all know I'm very active on Twitter, but I am in my Instagram inbox quite frequently as well. Thank you for watching. Thank you for checking the community tab. And thank you for subscribing to my backup channel. Okay. Y'all will probably see Leo later tonight. Somebody said this finna get dismissed. I think so too. I think so too. Self-care is the best care. Absolutely. Absolutely. What else was I about to say? Oh, let me copy and paste the link to my backup channel just so that you all have access to that. It is important. You never know how YouTube gonna do you, child. So you definitely should be should know what the backup channel is. I just dropped that in the chat. Y'all know how hard it is for me to say goodbye to y'all, right? So I like stall and stall. Don't forget to do something to decompress today. Drop a comment down below. Don't forget to keep it sticky and real yet respectful down below in those comments. And I can't wait to chop it up with you all. Let me know your thoughts on all the things that we discussed and covered this evening. And listen, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget the thumbs up or down. Either way, I appreciate it. But be sure to hit that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any of the celebrity or trending syrup, because things are always sticky in Hollywood and in real life. And drop some of them pancake emojis down below. Channel members, I will see y'all later on tonight. I will probably be on the backup channel and the main channel tomorrow. Y'all stay beautiful, black, and blessed, and have an amazing evening. Deuces.
But that's it. If you want to catch more of my commentary on Black culture or vital and trending information, be sure to subscribe by hitting that little circle in the middle of the screen, or I'll catch you in one of these rectangles to the right in another video. I'll see you there.
I said Leo was downstairs waiting like crab meat. Yeah, he actually is with his big greedy ass. Yes, he is. Bye, y'all.
But that's it. If you want to catch more of my commentary on Black culture or vital and trending information, be sure to subscribe. But that's it. If you want to catch more of my commentary on Black culture or vital and trending information, be sure to subscribe by hitting that little circle in the middle of the screen, or I'll catch you in one of these rectangles to the right in another video. I'll see you there.